Hi everyone, I'm Corina, and yeah, I'm 10 hours jet lag. So that means that literally I'm dreaming right now. So hope I will stay awake and I will keep you awake also. About me, so I have more than 12 years of experience in community building. For 5 years in a global role at UiPath, where I lead an awesome community team of 8 people. And UiPath community is all about software automation professionals, business analysts, and other different roles, or students, learners, who are passionate about automating, but they do that by learning from each other, helping each other, collaborating as much as possible in a large community. So we do have a database of more than 2 million users, but in the community we have more than 170,000 members that participate in meetups, events, on our forum. So a lot of activity that is happening, like more than 50 events each month, thousands of conversations on our forum, different content created, so quite a lot on that. So this is what I'm doing right now, and I do it for 5 years already. Prior to UiPath, I played a lot in the community space with 2 alternative programs in education. So with some friends, I managed to create an alternative program, like an alternative university in Romania, where we had 2 main things: self-directed learning, so everyone had their own path, how they choose to learn, where they choose to learn, what they want to learn. And they were doing that in communities. So a lot about communities of practice, a lot about sharing the same values and collaborating with each other. This was not enough, so then we created another program, a more structured one. So we brought a bachelor degree from the Dutch system into our system, in the educational system in Romania. And that, again, was about building communities and learning in communities. So it was quite a lot for me to play with the topic and to manage to grow then globally in the UiPath community. And while there are many stakeholders with whom I got the chance to work and with whom I'm still getting the chance to work. So this is going to be my presentation today. So 5 pillars for gaining executive support for your community. And each of them is quite important, and I believe that each of you get the chance to do a bit of 1, 2, or 3, or all 5. And today we are going to do that. The first thing is mindset, and how do you put yourself in those proper shoes. Then we move into strategy, and now that you have the mindset, how do you build a strategy? Execution, and I do love the execution side, and I hope you'll also like it. Data and communication. And I will show you some examples from my practice and how this works for UiPath community. Mindset. You are the executive of your community. So put yourself in those shoes. If you are the leader of your community, if you are the only person dedicated to community, if you just started in a team, you represent your community. So make sure you do that, and you are proud of that, and you train yourself in that mindset of being an executive for them. You do represent them. So you have this mandate to represent your community, which for sure is quite large, and it's important. So do that. And for you to do that, you can also learn from your executives, because they are there, they are in the open. So learn from your executives, see how they share, ask them to help you, ask them to mentor you. So there is a lot that can happen, and a lot that you can learn from your executives. You don't need to learn from all of them. There is 1 or 2 that you like more, maybe, or that really does a good job. And in that sense, I added here 3 things that you can do. So it can be like having different quarterly reports and use the same template just like they do. Or try as much as possible to put the content in a way that is very executive-oriented. If you don't do that, maybe you go for an annual year-end review. So there is a lot that is happening in your community. Just like maybe your company does it, and you put it in a blog, internally or externally, you can do the same for your community, because there is a lot happening. Data, roadmap, decisions, stories, successes, a lot that you can put there. And then third, if you are lucky enough to define a category, A state of your industry report can help a lot, and it means that you can go there into your public, into your community, and gain that knowledge from them, and then put it in a report that is very relevant and in the executive language. And then that's business impact for them that you can take it further. These are some ways of putting that mindset into work and have some outcomes out of it. Strategy. You are here for the long run, and if you aren't, which is fine, at least your community is. Develop a strong foundation of your objectives, for the community. You can have a mandate for a few years to stay there. You can pursue your career. You can do whatever you want as an individual, as a professional. But when it comes to what you put in place for your community, consider that. Consider that your community is there to stay and to evolve. So the way you structure your objectives, try to put it as much as possible, as highlight as possible for the other executives, for the other leaders to really get it. So as many objectives that you have in your community, as granular that you go with every little aspect, maybe for them it's just about the new user acquisition or what engagement, monthly engagement means. And that's all, and that's fine. So structure that for them to really get it. And in the back with your team, you can have more granular ones. And then departments where you sit. So this is my example. In these 5 years, I got the chance to report to 4 or 5 different leaders. And we started in product. We switched to marketing. We then went to go-to-market, which is more like sales, revenue kind of structure. And then we moved back into marketing. For the community, it was just the same. So we never got the chance to freeze and to wait for what the new leader is going to say, to change radically just because we are in a new department. Always we were there for the interest of the community, and we were delivering in that sense. Execution. Become a way of operating in your company. So with that, it happens, I don't know in how many companies it happens, but leaders do change. Their teams, those functions stay quite long, or at least the function, the need of that function. So try as much as possible while you go for the leaders, try as much as possible to collaborate with the ones that really do the job. And then when you get into that room with the executive, you do have examples of working with their teams, of how that works. In our case, we have more than 20 products. So it doesn't mean that we do it with every product once at a time. But we gain one by one, and then they start to be interested, and more of them want to collaborate with us. Be part of how things get done. So that means that you just integrate the community piece in how things work, in the ways of working. Meaning, when a product release is coming, a major product release is coming, they know that you are part of that checklist. They know that they need feedback from the community, so you become part of that. When a global campaign in marketing needs to happen, they add you there as a channel for communicating or for getting that input or for talking with your advocates, MVP programs, and so on. So you become part of that checklist, part of that process, and it's quite normal for them to consider you, to be part of the fabric. In this example, we do have a product advocacy program. So when we collect product feedback, we make sure that product managers are also in the room, product leaders are in the room. When we offer the awards of the MVPs, most valuable professionals, we invite them there, we make sure they are there. And once they are there, and we already booked a video recording team, we make sure that they also give the testimonials about why community is important, and we have the leaders talking with us about that. So these are some examples of how we do it and why how this works for us. Data. You love all your data, and I do believe that right now we have so many tools, and still we don't have enough data. We have on so many platforms and all that. But your executives, they first need to flirt with you, with your data. Sorry, not with you. So in this loving process, because they also have their own data to love, like they cannot fall in love with everything that is there. Use the right amount of data. Like, you can have it in the back, you can be ready with everything that you have, but when it comes to really working with them, really showing to them what is there, try as much as possible to show the right amount of data, what's enough, what's relevant, what's simple, what's clear for them. With that, also, make sure you talk the language of numbers, but do make sure that you are still representing the community. So you have your chance to put a story there, to put faces there, to bring the spirit of community while you show the data of your community. When it comes to how you use data, I added here that for some years already, we start to have more of the community operations side of things, where we use different kinds of tools, different kinds of data. We aggregate data from all these platforms, and I don't think these are all in our case, but quite many already. But all this data is just for us in the back, and it's our way and our process of working with them. When we move into strategy, we try to put them in different reports. I think here I have some different words. Anyway, in the middle, what you see is more like the dashboards that help us take decisions, see how things work, help us really see trends in using the data. So no more of the operations, is more of the strategy. But then when we go into talking with the executives, well, for them it's just a one-pager that includes the data, includes the trends, the metrics that are relevant to them, and what do we see that is not working that well, and then what do we see that we really want them to do, like the roadmap further, and how do we decide in that sense. So that's more for them. Communication. You can have one same program, but your language will talk different stories. So when it comes to talking with your executives, different executives want different things from your end, and for that you need to choose the language that you speak, the language that will spark most interest in their opinion and in the opinion of their objectives. And you need to adjust your story to your audience in that sense. And I brought here an example just to show you how that happens. And yeah, that requires that us, community managers, we need to be multitasking and to put different hats, but it's what we do and we are trained for that. So in this example, we do have, like in the month of March, we try to run a large program dedicated to empowering women, so Women in Automation program. Just like I said, we are a community for automation professionals. And in this program, we do quite many events, mentoring, enablement sessions, so technical sessions for our community members, and we try also to bring different other stakeholders from the UiPath and also from the community. So when it comes to marketing, well, with marketing we talk about the number of participants, leads, customers that joined the program, brand awareness that was created, how did we manage to amplify on social channels. So different things that are relevant for the marketing function and for the marketing leader to whom I report. But this is the marketing story. So with the same presentation, with the same topic, we cannot go to HR. In this case, we wanted HR to be an important part of the program and to get as much as possible the internal community to be activated. So for them, it was more about talking about other colleagues from other departments who got to participate in the program. How do we do this cross internal community and external community? How inclusive we are with our approach. Maybe it's something about employer branding and how this will be valuable for us in that sense. So a very different story, but with the same program. We just made sure that we designed the program accordingly in that sense. And then, when we went to our product leaders, well, for them, It was just another program where we want to enable the community. So for them, it was much more important which are the products that we are going to cover in our technical sessions, how the enablement is going to be generated, who from them needs to participate, or which are going to be the topics there. And then for them, it was also about, we had a track for career, but for them, it was more important to hear about the technical mentorship that was going to happen in the program. So the same program for us had to speak at least 3 languages, just the ones that I presented here. And there were a few others that were involved. So this is just a way of showing that as much as we put things in place for them, we need to put it as personalized as possible for each of them. Which pillar is your strength? Because I do believe that each of you do at least one or all 5 of the things that I presented here, and you put it in your own mix or with your own words. And which are the ones that you plan to focus more? So is it the mindset, and you need to practice more on the mindset and really being the executive of your community, putting in those shoes, making sure that you go back and you really get the strength to go there to your leaders, put your vision in front of the leaders, and make sure that you represent your community? It's going to be more of the strategy piece. How do you formulate your objectives? How do you make them last? When whatever happens, you just switch a bit and you keep them dynamic, but you make sure that they do represent the community and are relevant for the long run of the community. Execution. Are you becoming a way of operating? Are you really being part of other functions, other teams, how they work and how they get back content from you or input from you and how you go back to them? Are you that part of their teams, part of their checklist, and they come to you, not just you going to connect with them? Data. Are you using enough data? Are you using too much data and you really need to adjust there? Or communication. Are you communicating in enough languages for them? Are you sharing the right story to the right audience, to the right department, to the right executive in your case? All these 5 are here just to put a framework in how you can make sure that you gain the executive support one by one. So it's not just a task that today I'm going to get all the executive support that I need. It's quite dynamic. It's almost like building a community among them. But definitely some elements that you can take them further and consider them. So with that, thank you so much for your time and for paying attention to my presentation.